Spiritual awakening and transformative experiences are no longer quietly on the fringe, but are moving into the mainstream as a massive cultural paradigm shift. These changes are swiftly moving through our lives and will continue to impact us at many levels. Being in the know, having foreknowledge, helps us navigate through these times, know where to connect that inspires us, as well as connects us when we meet an obstacle, lifting us up to embrace positive changes. Some areas are not often discussed, and one area, spiritual bypassing, is a potential stumbling block we need to know. The 12 areas are influential components, transforming our times and leading us into the future and building that future you will want to know. And the ones I'm covering are religion, culture and education, end of life, eco environment and stewardship, sacred spaces, spiritual bypassing, mental health and physical health, trauma, pain, social justice, technology, and sound healing. In the area of religion, the continued trend from people leaving religions is ongoing, although there is a growth in rise in specific religions like Islam. Often, this is because of immigration from other Muslim countries to the United States. And while people are aware of the schism within many of the religions, Christianity and Catholicism, that have created war, domination, sexual abuse, and taken power from people for hundreds of years, co-opting their connection to their own spiritual awakening. The authority of these dominant forces is also questioned through exposure to other religions that have been happening through travel and technology that show the comparison of the ways others' reverence connect to their spirituality and how it's integrated into their lives in a meaningful way. The reclamation occurs in creating what works, finding new community, and sometimes adapting and remembering ancient practices that fill our hearts and our souls. In the interim, when there is loss of structure in connecting with community of like-minded people, when we've left these old religious structures and we've left the ceremony and celebrations that hold odors, special food, songs, rituals, and often clothes that are meaningful to us, the organized effort of social justice and helping others that's present, and support through our own difficulties. It gives us a guidepost. In this loss and reclamation process, there is an evolution of how spirituality is personalized through ceremony, births and deaths, holidays, and what areas are chosen, and remembering and implementing ancient practices that are merged with meaningful rituals that take on new vibrancy and uniqueness by those who step into that self-appointed role with heartfelt dedication and leadership. More of these practices are emerging, developing, and spreading. And with the aging population, there is a resurgence of identification of the wise elders and wisdom keepers who will not be here much longer, that are holding the space for all. And this is growing. More groups will take time to sacredly connect with each other in higher levels of consciousness in waking ordinary states that connect them to greater understanding, that expands our abilities to perceive and participate in a world we are just beginning to see glimpses of. Collective gathering and elevating consciousness continues spiritual awakening practices that strengthen, support, hold reverence, and sustain presence for methods of connection, grieving, celebrating, ceremony, births, deaths, healings, special times of year, convening together, land ownership, eco-environmentalism, and community development. There is a side of this process that will continue to come about unless people are aware of it. Exposure to other ceremonies, celebrations, and methods is sometimes they're co-opted in a less respectful way. This means someone takes or steals a concept or a ceremony without understanding the nuances, the depth, and what is behind it because they're undeveloped and they don't understand. Some circles call these plastic medicine people, plastic shamans. This is disrespectful to methods as well as sometimes dangerous to perform practices that appear to be innocent on the surface but have years of practice, spiritual development, and systems that are developed over that person's years with guidance that comes from their elders that gives them a deep and comprehensive and powerful respect for the practice. And training in these practices is not given unless there's overseership. End of life. End of life care is a topic of increasing importance as individuals seek to find meaning and purpose in their life, resolve conflicts, and find forgiveness and compassion, which sometimes includes the use of psychedelics for these discoveries, especially for an aging population. Near-death experiences are also giving a wealth of consistent content that vastly contributes to end of life and after death information. And people with these experiences bring to us comfort and insight and systems and understanding of stages and what to expect. As near-death experiences continue to be shared and they travel into the mainstream, the stages before death, after death, and after-death communication will grow into a greater knowing of expansion and understanding of who we are, how we're connected, that we are never alone. And there are beings who are around us all the time, and even when we're getting ready to leave. People who are practicing forgiveness and compassion on a daily basis for themselves, and often this is a part of spiritual awakening practices, now are also leading the way because these practices will be integrated into our lives and used every day because they release stored energy that binds us. When these are integrated into life, we have time to notice areas from the past and that are in the present, including tiny moments where these practices allow progress. Then, right before death, there is no remorse or, quote, demons of our own making, unquote, because we've done the work. And this practice frees the energy for what is commonly called the life review, because work has already been done throughout life. Knowing meditation through death while someone is dying elevates consciousness is also a powerful method to be able to easily connect to during this transformational time. And when those who are in attendance are also in a higher level of consciousness, they contribute their energy to the transition that supports that person in their process of passing over. There are also certain and specific curated sound healing practices that are beneficial to the time of transition that elevate consciousness for the person who is passing, and more advanced practices will reveal themselves as time goes on. And as we learn more about our individual ancestors and their practices, it's common to discover methods that became suppressed that are more holistic for those around the person, as well as the person who is in the process of dying or even has passed. In these discoveries are practices through sound healing and vocalizations that help to facilitate and release fear and carry the spirit forward on their journey, honoring their presence on earth and facilitate the person to go to the highest level and not be attached to the sorrow of the people who are on earth. These ancient practices are found in different cultures to assist the journey of the spirit. Environmental stewardship, eco-spirituality, and community. The intersection of spiritual awakening and environmental stewardship offers a powerful way to understand the challenges facing our planet and make the changes that will transform the issues we collectively face. When people are actively practicing spiritual awakening methods, they are also activating their abilities for problem solving, insight development, innovation, creativity, and intuition, which are key elements of going beyond the set of circumstances that created the situation to gather methods of resolution that are beyond what has been known. And in the intersection of spiritual awakening and the environment, there is an increasing recognition of the interconnectedness of personal growth and environmental sustainability. Spiritual awakening is an ongoing journey of a deepening connection to inner wisdom that also resonates within the natural world, which also simultaneously cultivates inner peace, compassion, and empathy. And these experiences all contribute to creating a more sustainable and harmonious future that is related to the environment and sustainability and our interconnect. There is a realization of the systems of the environment are living beings. Savannas, marshes, woodlands, deserts, mountains, and all bodies of water are not solely for the purpose of exploitation of their resources or to be used by humans, but for sustainability of the diversity. There is inclusion and honoring of the species for all survival. While it may be difficult to imagine the relationship to mosquitoes to the environment from a human perspective, there are many species of creatures who eat the mosquito and some of who are endangered. In the future, instead of killing the mosquito with toxic chemicals in the air and on our bodies and on the ground, and the species of toads, frogs, bats, certain birds, and fish keeping the balance without endangering the environment by exposing it to toxic chemicals will thrive. Sacred spaces, whether natural or human created, play a vital role in spiritual awakening and environmental stewardship. These spaces provide a place of refuge, contemplation, inspiration, and resonance connection. Research shows people most often feel their personal spiritual connection while in nature. They can also serve as reminders of the interconnectedness of all life and the importance of preserving the natural world. And as people connect through nature and look into the sky in the day and the night, they'll notice the natural land formations and ancient formations created by their ancestors and their relationship to systems through time and the feeling and presence of these locations that is timeless, and learn their secrets. While some sacred spaces are known and even exploited through commercialism, many can remain pristine by a greater emphasis on environmental stewardship and sacred spaces that are shared with all creatures, in conjunction with becoming sensitive to and recognizing the value of sacred spaces. As individuals become more aware of the challenges facing the planet, they will seek out geographically located communities that promote environmental sustainability, involving protection of biodiversity, reduction of pollution, and ways to contain and keep clean water, and actions related to climate change, and promote sustainable living. The movement of creating community gardens, public labyrinths, sacred circles, and other sacred symbols that we interact with continues to grow, and these sacred spaces will take on new understanding and relevance as people learn more, go deeper. Pain. At this time, people with pain are offered medication, including cannabis, and physical therapy, and the next step is surgery as their options. Yet, as time goes on, The use of non-pharmacological interventions for managing pain has already been established through plenty of legitimate research and has many advantages. And as time goes on, the information about the use of curated sound methods and systems, similarly, using curated sound healing methods are especially valuable for going to the dentist and relaxing and releasing the stress and tension. Social justice. Spiritual awakening involves cultivating compassion, empathy, and inner peace. In this development process within, there often develops a greater awareness of the suffering and injustices in the world. While in some instances, this awareness seems to be debilitating, there is a transition from being frozen in debilitation to action towards a more equitable and compassionate society for animals and creature companions, addiction, human trafficking, poverty, and many other areas. All of these areas are part of the transformation that is bringing light and compassion to what once was hidden. The Me Too movement and Black Lives Matter as examples of once oppressive structures and marginalization will receive attention and methods as they rise up, just like those. This aspect of spiritual awakening manifests as courage and motivation to social justice work and change systems. In the process, there is noticing there is a problem, understanding the issues, and taking action to alleviate the system that is oppressive and painful. As diversity, equity, and inclusion becomes more understood and implemented, other implicit biases will show up, hidden biases, and there will be an increasing value of personal growth, participation, compassion, and development. Technology. As we have accelerated our use of technology worldwide, it is simultaneously resulting in a deeper push into our spiritual inner development, and paradoxically can be isolating and connecting at the same time. All the components of moving beyond the old paradigm of dualism, the binary, only, us and them, dominance instead of stewardship, are layered into technology as mirrors of this paradox. Another component of technology is isolation, as we learned during the pandemic, and being on devices can lead to depression and anxiety. All of technology has the ability to be used for growth or denigration, and making our lives easier while we identify the snags can be used for negative purposes. Technology's gift is the ability to connect worldwide, learn and grow in different areas that resonate within. It offers an opportunity to encounter others without traveling and consider what they offer, including teachings, music, messages, and practices. Using innovations in sound healing now that are available through technology for healing, mastering challenging times, getting to sleep, accessing heightened states of consciousness, releasing trauma, and creating epigenetic responses that are healing for our physical body, mind, emotions, and spirit already exist and will become part of mainstream culture. Spiritual bypassing. I mentioned this in the beginning of this video as an area to watch out for that we are prone to do. As people continue to look for personal experiences and deepening of their spiritual inner wisdom and awakening practices, sometimes people use spiritual ideas and practices to avoid confronting or addressing emotional or psychological issues. Furthermore, spirituality is used as a method to avoid confronting unresolved emotional issues, inadvertently perpetuating self-destructive patterns of behavior. Another component of spiritual bypassing is creating a false sense of enlightenment or that I know I'm righteous, which is presented to others as spiritual superiority And you may already sense this on social media. This behavior is present today in people who come to your door with their version of God and a book implying their path is not only preferred, but you need to hear about it. And their path is superior and you need to be saved, healed, or claimed. Another component of spiritual bypassing that is harmful are exploitive behaviors that use spiritual language or demonstrations or leverage of spirituality to rationalize abusive or manipulative behaviors or actions. They may claim, or others may claim about them, these actions are in accord with that person's spiritual connection or with God and higher purpose. This is dangerous in religions, spiritual communities, and practices where compliance and obedience are part of not questioning that authority. Other components of mainstream spiritual awakening is the consumerized, commercialized version of superficial fixes that are vacuous or quick access to mastery or experiences that require little investment in work that heals for a quick fix. In some communities, these are known as plastic healers, plastic shamans, and plastic medicine people. Mental health and trauma. Today, we've come a long way from the instant labeling of crazy and pathologicalizing mental health issues and trauma, or have we? Although the presence of the ideas of how other cultures treat people with mental health issues presented in the movie Crazy Wise by Phil Borges, which he made in 2016, shows there's a spread integrated into mainstream that we're hoping for, with people who are trained to understand and guide people, asking the questions in the future. Is this crazy or wise? Is this psychosis or spiritual awakening? We won't need to ask those questions any longer, but right now that is what's necessary because we're not even quite there yet. We are lifting out of pharmaceutical-only interventions and lack of compassion because of the movement of spiritual emergencies, with different people contributing to these seeds of that information. Understanding compassion is necessary in all of the aspects of mental health, trauma, addiction, and as potentials of spiritual awakening opportunities. Due to the prevalence of anxiety in teens, there is also concern in the near future we will have a world filled with anxious and depressed people unless we make some significant changes in our trajectory. Spiritual awakening rooted in practices of meditation that shift consciousness also release stress, trauma, anxiety, and depression. And as our culture evolves, understanding and implementing to our children and teens, as well as adults, methods of beginning level meditation practices is not only diverting a crisis, but contributing to our overall growth and evolution. Even only from the perspective of the financial burden to our medical system, it's an imperative. And also from the perspective of the quality of life and the contributions of their well-being. Valuing the use of the transformation of consciousness on a regular basis in micro adjustments through practices that shift our brain waves, heart rate, and respiration will be understood as essential to our physical, mental, and emotional health. The rise in the use of psychedelics and the research that supports the benefits also contribute to this evolving awareness that we were never designed to stay or thrive in one level of consciousness. And some people have said often through the decades, psychedelics are a method to show people there is a pathway. And once you learn that pathway, you can get there on your own. As spiritual awakening continues, the understanding and research that is already present on the extraordinary applications of particular music and sound for healing will also compete with the pharmaceutical industry's role and their services. Since curated sound healing has wide applications for pain management, getting to sleep, releasing depression and anxiety, accessing deep spiritual connections, developing resilience, releasing positive hormones like dopamine that lift our spirits and enhance how we're able to regulate our mental and emotional states, that are also called transformational, intense musical experiences that are life-changing, connect to profound insight, feeling of harmonization, similar to psychedelics. And people will seek out using these sound healing methods for developing and accessing this deep inner wisdom and transformational abilities as individuals can be used, as well as with groups of people. Other research with curated sound healing reveals how it releases and heals trauma in the neurological system, and mindful meditation has laid a path for other more significant methods of transforming our consciousness, our physical and mental and emotional health. Specific sounds and their patterns build a strong relationship with creativity, insight, problem solving, resilience, and intuition. This is significantly related to healing and spiritual awakening as a cultural transformation, because these are the qualities of deep self-trust and resolution within and advancing that relationship. And right now, there are only a few universities, one I know of in the UK, that recognize the value of intuition in upper management as a valuable asset, as do some air traffic controllers. Yet research reveals these are critical to healing trauma, advancing in a career, decision-making, sensing safety, and our evolution using intuition. Discovering solutions using intuition and insight as problem-solving abilities is going beyond the current knowledge base into an expansive receptivity that allows for solutions that are beyond the known. The research already exists that we are able to access transformative states through specific sound pattern systems that create epigenetic responses that intervene upon the production of cortisol, which is the stress hormone, and inflammation, that are the underlying contributors to heart disease, the leading cause of death worldwide, diabetes, cancer, addiction, immune-compromised illness, Parkinson, dementia, and Alzheimer's, as well as schizophrenia, bipolar, depression, and anxiety. This is revolutionary to the physical and mental health field, as well as to each of us as individuals, because accessing these states release trauma in the nervous system that is also a contributor to mental and physical illness. These restorative states also lend to insights into the nature of consciousness, the power of intention, and potential for human beings to shape their reality. Consider there were those people who went before that seeded this time, like William James, identifying inner spiritual connection as a result of industrialization. We are now seeding the future. Collectively, we are moving into an age of harmony. Considering how accessing alpha brainwaves and theta and deeper states is a growing phenomena, the future will continue to evolve as we seed that future. But there is work to do. In the video blog, Mysteries and Challenges of Spiritual Awakening, there's information about the fear of letting go or being pushed as individuals. As a collective culture, we are also in this stage of fear of letting go of attachments to the old ways of ideas, social norms about what is possible in healing trauma for our physical body, mind, emotions, and spirit. We are being pushed to make these changes, to breathe space into the new. We have permission to discover, uncover, release, change our minds, be uncomfortable, and re-identify our purpose and expand who we know we are. In this process, we are uncovering what has been held secret even to ourselves. Willingness to speak our truth in love, to move in new directions. It is time for the future. Thanks for watching, and please like and subscribe and check out the 3 Malete programs.